Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this Donatella household dehumidifier. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description on Amazon, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So it says here 1 key operation, auto shut off, 2-liter tank capacity, strong dehumidification. It says how to use, connect the power, turn it on. You can use a drain hose or use the tank on it. And here are some specs. The product size is 200 by 137 by 354 millimeters. The weight is approximately 2.3 kilograms. Input voltage is 100 to 240. The fan is 120 by 120 by 20. DC speed 1900 RPM. Tank capacity is 2 liters. Dehumidification is 1 liter per day. Noise is less than or equal to 50 dB. And actual power is 48 watts. And here's some little notices here. So let's get this out of the box. So here we go. So this is a compact dehumidifier. So you're not going to dehumidify a 2,000 square foot house with this, but this is good for smaller spaces. The Amazon description recommends up to 350 square feet for this. So a dehumidifier this size would be ideal for a bathroom, small bedroom, garage. This would work well in a pantry. If you have a pantry area in a basement, this would be perfect for that, especially if you can close the door on it. So this uses a Peltier junction, so I suspect it will be quiet. So we have a cord coming out of the back. There is a handle on the top with the indicator lights and the on button. Pull this bin out. So this has a float in it. So when this gets full, it will shut off. And look in here, here is the little switch. You can see these metal heat sinks in there. There's 2 of them. So there's 2 Peltier junctions. So what a Peltier junction is a circuit that gets hot on one side and cold on the other. So on that cold side is where the water is going to condense. So here's the user manual. So this has some safety tips here. It talks about the features, the specs. We already went over those. Has the 3 lights on top or the power indicator. Has a light when the dehumidifier is working and a light when the tank is full, letting you know to empty it. So this is going to take air in on the front and eject it through the top. And then you can use this tank to fill up, or this is the drain plug here. So we can pull that out. If you're in a place like a basement with a floor drain, you can connect this tube here and then run this to your floor drain. So that's a little tight to get on there. I'm sure I could work it on. A little tip, if you're having trouble getting this on, run some really hot tap water over this tubing. It'll make it a lot softer and that will slip right on there. And this does come with an extra cap. So I'll place that in there. Okay, so let's plug it in. Okay, so it turned on automatically. Here we have the power light, the dehumidification light, and once this fills up, this light will turn on so we can empty it. So we can press this button to turn it off. And I'll get the thermal camera out and see if I can look through here and we can see these getting colder. Okay, so it's a little tricky to show in here. We can see the ambient temperature is around 62 degrees. We look up here, it's a little bit cooler, 60 degrees. And inside there, you can see where it's getting darker. I don't think I can get a good temperature reading through the front grates on here, but you can see that is getting a lot colder in there. And then if we look at the top, you can see this is hotter here. So this is about 72 degrees. So it's moving the heat from these front heat sinks to this port to eject it out. So that was the thermal camera. So a couple things about running a dehumidifier. They're not instant. You can't stick this in a location and expect this to fill up in like 10 minutes. This takes 1 liter of water a day out. Another thing to consider is that it needs some airflow to do this job. So if you put this in a closet and you have things bunched up against it, it's not going to be able to dehumidify the whole closet. So you want space for air to flow around it. You could even put a fan in the place to help move the air around so the air can get to this. So this will draw the moist air in here, will condense on those heat sinks, drop down to the pan here, and then it will eject the dry air out at the top. Now this will give off some heat, so if you put this in a closet, you close the door, you come back later, you might open the door and notice that it's warmer in there, and that's because dehumidifiers give off heat in the process. So I'm going to go test this out and I'll come back and show the results. Okay, so I've been running this for around 3.5 hours. I pulled some water out of the air. I'll pull this open. You can see water is collected here. Pull the top off. And we can see the water collected in there. So as I said before, dehumidification is a slow process, especially with a smaller dehumidifier. So you can't expect it to be just sucking gallons of water out of your air really quickly. So you need to just leave it and plug it in and let it do its thing. So I could empty that right now. I don't really need to though. If you had a hose plugged in there and had it into a floor drain or something, you could just leave this run all the time. So that water in there is probably relatively clean. I did see a little speck of aluminum. It's probably part of the heat sink from the machining or something. I think it was aluminum. So I wouldn't drink that water, but you could probably water plants with it or something. Otherwise you could just pour it down the drain. So there are many applications for a dehumidifier like this. I think this could work well in a basement pantry or even an upstairs pantry that has a lot of high humidity in it. You want to remove some of that humidity. You could use this in a closet, bedroom. It's going to work better if the area is smaller and closed off. If you had this in a room with the window open and humid air is coming in, there's no way this is going to keep up. It's just a waste of an effort. Other things you could use this for would be in a car. Say you shampooed the carpets in a car. You could just set this in there and let it run while you're not driving it if you have access to power where your car is, like if it's in a garage. And this could help dehumidify it. I would put this in the car and then also put a fan in the car. The best would be a small oscillating fan or something to move the air around. And then when the air passes through this will take that moisture out of the air and collect it down here. So that's always been a challenge to me when I've shampooed carpets in a car, getting them dry. A lot of times I'll try and keep it out in the sun, but that's not always ideal. This way I could just throw this in there with a fan and let it dehumidify. So that's the Donatello dehumidifier. That's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.